What's up, guys? It is Dan from FightWave, and today I am joined by somebody I'm incredibly excited to speak with. If you know anything about me, you know that today's guest is probably one of my favorite featherweights on the active roster right now. I think it's his third time joining FightWave for an interview. It's always a privilege to speak with him. The first time I got to speak with him when I was in San Diego, ahead of, just coming off a phenomenal win over Billy Quarantillo, and now he fights his third fight in his second UFC stint and looks to compound on a massive run right now. I think he is a guy that is poised to make the top 15, and I am privileged to be joined by the Moroccan Devil himself ahead of his fight at UFC Edmonton, Mr. Youssef Zalal. Youssef, thank you so much for your time. As always, a privilege, brother. How are you doing ahead of this fight against Jack Shore?
My man. Thank you for having me again. Third time's a charm too.
Absolutely.
Nah, man. I feel great, man. I feel amazing, and it's like you said, it's almost time to fly out to Canada, Edmonton, and really get to have the more fun. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And Yusuf, it feels like for the last 3 or 4 fights that you've had inside the UFC, the UFC's finally recognized what the Moroccan Devil brings to the octagon. And I love that they're actually putting you in these stadium cards. We're moving out of the Apex. We're seeing you fight. First, I saw you in San Diego live. Now we get to see you in Edmonton. How do you feel about just another opportunity to fight in front of a UFC crowd? How much does that excite you ahead of, just another great fight, but also not fighting in the Apex? I know that you fought your fair share in the Apex, definitely, safe to say the least.
I mean, the Apex is like kind of like a home to me, to be honest, because I've fought so many times. So it really didn't matter. I feel like they have more crowd now, like 100-ish people-ish, kind of, to be honest. So it's kind of like a lot fun. And you get to have like your family super close, so you get to hear him and stuff like that. But to be honest, like I'm the one who was pushing for a fight, because I was like, I didn't know what was gonna happen. I was like, okay, they signed a lot of guys and stuff like that. I was like, I want to stay active. We had a good streak. Let's just keep the good streak going. Let's end the year in a good win, especially against the opponent. You know what I mean? So that was the whole purpose. But I'm actually super excited to apparently to Hockey Arena. I didn't know that, and I guess it's called the Oilers or something.
Yeah, the
So
Edmonton Oilers.
yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that to kind of fight in an arena and see the crowd. I feel like every time I fight in the crowd, like I had one win, one draw. So I want to make this as a good finish and then really get it going.
Definitely. And I know for you, when you look at just the guy that has come across your doorstep for this fight, I know when you look at the list of guys at 145, there's a lot of great fighters, but few of them get me excited for an unranked, fighter, prospect versus prospect fight, quite like you and Jack Shore. When you saw the opponent come across your doorstep, obviously, I know for you, aiming towards the rankings, looking to fight up in the division any chance you can get. But how excited were you to get a guy who's not only on the doorstep of the top 15 himself, but is also an established name that a win over him puts you in a great position to call for that, ranked fight next?
Exactly. It's like what you said. It's like a win over him. It will do a lot of my stock will go up a lot. You know what I mean? So he's 6-2 in the UFC. He only lost to guys. Basically, I think Brito's like number 16 as the featherweight, and he's 1-1 in featherweight. He was ranked number 12 in like bantamweight. He only lost to Ricky Simone. So it's like he's like a very, very tough opponent. You know what I mean? So for me to go out there and especially finish him, that'll like get my stock up right there. And like you said, it's like the goal is to get to the top 15, and then after the top 15 stop pushing for the title. So that's the main goal, and that's what like excites me about this matchup and really gets me like motivated to get that goal that I want.
Definitely. And then when you look at just right now, the preparation for a guy like Jack Shore, what's that kind of preparation look like? Obviously, without giving the game plan away, but just in terms of preparing for an opponent of his stature, what's the preparation like? Is it the same as just every fight, or do you always like maybe look for some different alterations when you're preparing for guys as you progress up the UFC ladder?
Definitely, there's a lot of different preparations you got to do for everybody, right? So I feel like Jack Shore is a lot more better grappler than the guys that I faced the last 3 fights, to be honest. So obviously, I have to respect that and get ready for that. And obviously, the fight starts on the feet too, and he's actually pretty good in the feet as well. So he's a well-rounded fighter. So I have to be ready and dial everything in striking, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and everything. So I got a great team behind me and a great people behind me, and I think we're ready. And then November 2nd, we get to find out.
Absolutely. And on top of this, Yusuf, when you look at Colorado right now, it feels like Colorado, every time I look at it year by year, it undergoes a completely new renaissance of just fighters that go there, they train there, they base their training out of there. And I know for you, having fought out of Colorado for quite some time now, you've been able to see that development and renaissance and how it's really flourished into this fight capital almost. When you look at the development, even just this last weekend, we had Brandon Royval, a good friend of yours, and Tatsuro Taira, both Colorado-based fighters, fight in the main event and have a performance like that. It speaks to the quality not just in the top 10 and top 15 of most divisions, but also guys who really base their training out of Colorado, being able to take it to that next level. So how much does it excite you to not only fight out of Colorado, but see the growth that it has and it continues to have inside the octagon?
Oh, I said this so many times, man. Colorado has the toughest when it comes to MMA. It really does. I feel like if you have a career, especially starting as an early pro, as a regional scene and everything, like when you start in Colorado, you do have the toughest matchups going into, like actually get you super ready for the high level like UFC and stuff like that. So yeah, man, like you said, like everything, it's exciting, man. You get to represent the city that you train at, and you get to see everybody else represent the city that you training at, you live in, and stuff like that. So it's awesome, and it's a blessing for me to go do the same like everybody else, and can represent Colorado, and of course my hometown, my home country, Morocco. So I'm very pumped for this fight, and I can't wait.
Absolutely. And I've spoken to you, obviously, about a fair bit about just your love for Morocco, being able to represent them at the highest of your capabilities. But also in your last fight against Jarno Aarons, you talked about something that you'd been wanting to do for quite some time, something that was on your bucket list. And I thought it was honestly incredibly heartwarming. When you look at fighters, where they come from, the sacrifices that they make, I thought it was incredible to hear this. It's one of the stories that makes this sport just incredible. And that was that upon your first 50K bonus, you wanted to go to you want to go to Morocco and bless your family and just be able to take care of a lot of the people that took care of you in your upbringing. So when you were able to get that 50K bonus, what were the emotions like in that moment, being able to assume a childhood dream, I'd imagine, and be able to make your family proud in the moment?
Oh man, I was running around. I think I was eating at a restaurant while the fights were going on, and I think it was like in the last few matches. And then they called me. My manager called me. He was like, "We got the bonus." Man, I think I ran a mile over that table, just like running all over, And I haven't been when I go to Morocco. That's when I'm kind of blessing. Yeah, so don't tell them yet. They don't know yet. So keep that a secret. But yeah, man, I'm excited to go there and really bring not just happiness, like just joy, and like really be with the family, and like tell them like, hey, like it's gonna be okay. You know what I mean? And hopefully I can help you today, and hopefully I can help you more in the future.
Definitely, and it feels like with the fight game, that's something that isn't really talked about enough. I know we talk about, fighters traveling to different places, but not so much the sacrifice. And I know for you, coming to the States as a young kid, training here and dedicating so much time here, it could be difficult on a fighter, and especially just a person, on a person-to-person level. So when you look at the time that you spent in Colorado, the sacrifices that you've made, and being able to repay it all in a moment, not just to your family, but to the Moroccan fans who've obviously poured a lot into their fighters, how does that motivate you to take things to the next level, but also to stay grounded in your pursuit for greatness in this sport?
For sure, man. It's super hard, So especially like as my mom is still in Morocco, so it's kind of like I haven't seen her in the last 2 years. So I'm very excited just to kind of go in there and really just enjoy my family and have fun with my family. I get to see my dad, my brother, my nieces, and my sister, and everybody else. But obviously my mom is a big structure in my plans. So I kind of like really, that's the one thing I've been missing a lot. But obviously the main focus is to get the job done and really go rest and really just enjoy the family. So that's the most important part. I know it doesn't matter how the fight goes or what I do. They're always proud of me, and that's what matters, man. Is the love and the family stays together, and that's what's most important to me. So that's my biggest motivation, and that's my biggest sacrifice. So I will do anything in my power to make that worth it.
Definitely. And then when you look at right now, the culture that we see from that side of the world, I've got to say, Youssef, looking at your story, a lot of cooking to say the least. And I think this is something, I want to see you patent this or copyright this idea or take the trademark at least. But an idea I want to propose on the FightWave brand is we've seen cooking with Volk, and we know that Volkanovski's another 145er that loves to eat. But I want to propose a Halal with Zalal. I think that's that is a phenomenal name, and I gotta ask you, when can we see Halal with Zalal hit the main stage on YouTube or in any feed near you?
Oh man, that's actually pretty dope. I know, like I had a couple ideas, and people could throw some ideas like I can't remember what was the other one was like cooking with UC, and the other one was like something like YZ or something like that. But Halal would yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like that. I like that. I think that's gonna bring more traction too.
I
So
think so. I
yeah,
think that
I think you might see here soon. Then I
I'm
think you might
seeing
see here
I'm
soon.
seeing gold, man. I'm seeing the ideas. I gotta bring the ideas to life, and I gotta shoot my shot. And more importantly, I think that that would do wonders, especially not just bringing together the Arab world, but also bringing together your love for fighting and other aspects. I know you're an avid gamer. I know you love to cook. I think that something like that would be incredible to see. And I mean, hey, I think Yusuf Zalal, man of many talents, fighter, gamer, cook. I think we definitely want to see it.
Also a driver, good driver.
Good driver
Let's throw
too.
that out there. Let's throw that out there.
We gotta throw
I'm just
that. We
messing
got
with you.
we gotta put that one on the record too for the people who maybe don't know at home. Yusuf Zalal, phenomenal driver. But regardless, I mean, talk to me just about keeping the culture in Colorado. Bringing those Moroccan eats to life, being able to bring some aspect of home with you to Colorado, and also. I know you're in training camp a lot of the time. You're steadfast on your goal in 2024, pure tunnel vision. But how has it been in terms of being able to take time away and enjoy some good Moroccan eats in Colorado when you're able to?
Man, funny thing, my sister, her husband, his family just got to Denver like 3 weeks ago. And his mom and his dad, like, they owned restaurants and stuff like that. So like they know how to cook Moroccan food, bro. So I went there, man. I was having the time of my life. I told them, I was like, I can't be here. Like, I cannot see you guys. Like, you guys gotta stay away from me. And I really did. I said that, and they kept inviting me after every day. I'm like, no, I can't be here. Like, I would miss weight. I would never make weight. So that was kind of the thing, man. That's like it's kind of hard to like obviously dieting the whole time. So it's kind of super hard for me to really be on a certain Moroccan diet, you know what I mean? So it was kind of like get what I have around and like make it as simple as I can, obviously, and make it as easy as possible I can for me. But yeah, I was like definitely miss that culture a lot more. But I'm glad that my sister and her husband, these families here. So kind of I can't wait to come back and be there every day at their house. So from Edmonton, and I'm gonna be there every day at their house.
Absolutely. And then on top of this, of course, next week we have a main event for the ages and a lot of familiarity for you, Yusuf, having already fought one half of next week's main event. And in my opinion, and a lot of other fans' opinions, being probably the hardest stylistic matchup who has, the fighter who has given current UFC featherweight champion Ilia Topuria the toughest time in the UFC octagon. I definitely think that the grappling, you're the only fighter he's grappled against. I'll say that much. I think that that's proof in the pudding of where Youssef Zalal is in the featherweight division right now. But regardless of that, what is your assessment of the main event next week, and how excited are you for this fight in your division? Just what it brings to the division, the hype and excitement we're seeing from fans. How excited are you to see this fight get underway?
Man, I'm pumped and like nervous and scared for because I love Max Holloway. And obviously, Ilya, I want him to win because that's the guy I want to go after. And there's a lot of things, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of things in the picture, but I can't be too greedy. I got to focus on the people that I have in front of me. That's the most important part. But that's the biggest goal, obviously, is he's the main head that I want to come for. But or whoever's the champion. But I always grew up watching Max Holloway, man. He's so much fun to watch and stuff like that. And that just the way he speaks and he handles himself as well. So that's like very inspiring as well. So, but also Ilya is the same thing, man. It's like really focused, really know what he wants and stuff like that. So it's gonna be a very exciting matchup in that division, and I think it's gonna depends on who wins. The needles are gonna be moved different ways. So I'm pretty excited how it is and on how it will go.
Definitely. And I know you've mentioned in other interviews and just to the press about your eagerness to get back and remind fans of who Youssef Zalal is. And I think you've done a great job so far. And in the Ilia Topuria fight, seeing where he's gotten now since you guys last fought, I know that you've talked about how that's lit a fire under you. How eager are you? How much, not necessarily motivated by who has the belt, because I know for you, regardless of who has the belt, you're looking to get that title. But how much has it lit a fire under you, especially knowing that this is a guy you faced in the past and that you have what it takes on any given night to give anyone a problem in this division?
I think it gives peace to my mind in a way. I feel like sometimes we want to overthink a lot of things and like oh, am I good enough? Am I this? Am I that? And this and this and this and that. But you start like come to reality of like, hey, you fought the world champion of the world. You know what I mean? No, mine, like he gotten a lot better. I gotten a lot better. So there's a lot of things that changed in that 2 year period or 3 year period time. You know what I mean? So I went a downhill, he went in an uphill. Now I'm trying to climb back up and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things, but the biggest thing I would say is kind of give me a little clarity in my mind and really just know who I am and really what I'm about. You know what I mean? And I'm going for that belt, and I don't care who's the champion is, and who knows, maybe we'll run into each other one day.
Definitely. Almost like a sense of familiarity. Like you've already faced that guy at the top. You know what it takes to get to that level. And it feels like if what your last few fights have been an indication of is any indicator, that we're going to be seeing the best version of Youssef Zalal come November 2nd and only continuing to compound from there. And Youssef, I want to thank you so much for your time, brother. As always, a privilege as always to speak with you. And on a final note, of course, facing Jack Shore on November 2nd, not looking past him, but it feels like a win here that opens up the doors for Youssef Zalal in a magnitude of ways. It feels like, when you look at the guys at the top, at the edge of the top 15 who could fight for a ranking next, you and Jack are maybe a few of many guys that can maybe make an argument to do so. How much of this fight are you excited for? Not necessarily in what a win entails, but what 2025 could look like for Youssef Zalal with a win here in, your climb up the rankings.
I mean, the rankings, it'll come. What matters is my performance. That's all I care about. They all remember you as your last performance. That's all they do. I feel like you go in and perform, and then a few weeks later they forget about it. You know what I mean? So my biggest thing is to go perform, and that's what's the most important in my mind right now. It's not just a win. I want to perform, and for me to perform against a guy that caliber and all that stuff, like, it brings a lot of eyes and brings a lot more fans my way. And obviously it keeps me slowly coming into to the belt and to the top 15. But most importantly is passing through Jack Shore, and then we can look at top 15, and then we can go from there, because I already called out all the guys in the top 15, then Ige,
Yeah.
Barbosa, and all that stuff. You know what I mean? But again, I can only control what's in front of me, and I'm excited for what's in front of me. It's a very hard puzzle that I'm very excited to solve, and have some fun with it too, and enjoy Canada and enjoy my team and really have fun. And we'll speak after this, and we'll enjoy life after that.
Absolutely. And if it's any indication of how good that card looks right now, I think we're in it for a phenomenal night come UFC Edmonton. Fighting in the Oilers Stadium, I think it is going to be a phenomenal night of fights. And Youssef, best of skill in your upcoming fight. I know I'll be tuning in to watch. And definitely, to the fans at home watching, comment down below. I'm just curious because we talked about Halal with Zalal. I think we may have struck gold here. So if you do end up going forward with the idea, Youssef, you know who put you on game for the name.
Oh, for sure.
I want royalties. No, I'm kidding.
I got you, bro. I got you. I
But
got you. I got you.
definitely check out Youssef Zalal on social media. I think he's a great fighter. Check him out. As always, guys, it's been Dan from FightWave. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. Do be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and have a great day, guys.